In our busy world, it's easy to get caught up in daily routines and lose touch with your inner self. I used to worry too much about what others thought and tried hard to control everything, leading to constant stress and anxiety. But then, one day, I decided to let go. I let go of all the worries and the fears and allowed myself to be. And when I did, I suddenly felt this incredible sense of peace and calmness wash over me. It was like I had finally awakened my higher consciousness and allowed myself to connect with my divine self. And ever since then, I've been trying to stay in that state as much as possible. When you connect with your higher consciousness, you can achieve things you never thought possible. It's not always easy, but it's definitely worth it. Higher consciousness is not something that you have, it's something that you are. It's a state of being, a state of knowing, and a state of being in harmony with your true self. It's also a state of being in harmony with the universe. Life can be difficult when it's not aligned with your higher consciousness. You feel like you're stuck in a never-ending cycle of stress and anxiety, and you can't seem to break free. You feel trapped in this dark place and don't know how to get out. This happens when we live from ego. The ego is the part of us concerned with the material world and our personal desires. It's the part of us that is always seeking more, that is never satisfied, and that is always looking for ways to get ahead. Higher consciousness is about living in alignment with your true, higher self. It's about being present in the moment and being aware of your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. It's about surrendering to what is and trusting that everything will work out for the best. Becoming more conscious or stepping into higher levels of consciousness is the same as becoming more self-aware, more mindful, and building greater emotional intelligence, to name just a few topics that fit into this question. And walking the path to higher consciousness and greater awareness is a daily process of making decisions, self-examination, and refinement. To walk this path is not like finding a light switch, flicking it on and saying, "Aha, there it is. I have reached an ultimate state of understanding." It is instead more like a dimmer switch that slowly increases the amount light as function of growth, transformation, and transcendence. With that being said, working towards higher consciousness is much more about letting go than it is about understanding. When this is intuitively grasped, there is nothing to reach for and nothing to compare. Higher consciousness has many names: collective consciousness, Christ consciousness, Buddha consciousness, superconsciousness, and God consciousness. Those names conjure up images of divinity and exceptionally high states of spiritual development or energetic vibration. Higher consciousness is spiritual or energetic awareness that transcends the mind's normal preoccupation with the past and the future. As you raise your consciousness, you awaken to the eternal, unlimited nature of your being. Higher consciousness is ever-increasing awareness of the meaning of existence, your spiritual essence, and of the spiritual or energetic nature in all things. You may wonder if it's possible to achieve higher consciousness, given the truly exceptional nature of the people we associate with it, Jesus, Buddha, etc. The answer is, yes, you can. But mastering the mind and realizing our oneness with the infinite ocean of energy is not easy. Why? First we see, and then we believe. But ascending to a higher consciousness can only happen when we believe, and then see. Being alone and vulnerable. We believe we are separate from everything else, alone and vulnerable. But are we? Imagine an ocean of pure, loving energy. It is infinite and eternal. As part of that ocean, where do you begin and end? What are your boundaries? Look at the photo of the droplet of water above and see if you can spot it once it enters the greater body of water. You can't. And when it comes to the universal energy field, there is no surface, no boundaries, and so we can never, ever be separate from it. We are the ocean of conscious energy. At the higher levels of consciousness, we no longer feel separate. We feel and experience oneness with the universal energy field, We are points of energy, but energy has no limits, only characteristics. Through meditation and other spiritual practices, including awareness, development of intuition, and following the teachings of the ancient spiritual masters, you can elevate your consciousness to a higher level. The beauty of spiritual awakening is that you are not becoming anything. You are simply awakening to your true nature and awakening your dormant faculties. Spiritual teachers make us aware that we are operating as only partially conscious beings due to our untrained minds, as well as preoccupation with more base desires, preoccupation with the physical experience and its pain, suffering, desire, and impermanence. Most humans are in a state of being asleep even when awake, meaning we are blind to the true nature of existence. We see what we perceive to be reality, but what we perceive is seen through the unconscious lenses of our past conditioning, which is completely different from that of any other human being. That means that for every single person alive today, there is a different reality, a different truth. It's no wonder we fight so much. And on a deeper level, it means that each one of us creates his or her own reality and his or her own universe. Imagine if you stopped seeing yourself as separate, how differently you would feel. You would see your face in the face of a stranger or an enemy. You would become patient, kind, and compassionate toward all beings. This is the beginning of awakening to your true nature as an infinite, eternal point of consciousness. When you learn self-mastery, mastery of thoughts and emotions, and embrace and embody the concepts of compassion, understanding, forgiveness, gratitude, unconditional love, patience, kindness, truthfulness, and humility, you will reach a higher level of consciousness. Transcending your thoughts. But that is not the end of awakening. At the exceptionally high levels of consciousness, you don't master your thoughts anymore, you transcend them. You become intensely aware of the true nature of reality, without the constant mental chatter and critique of what is. This level of self-control is difficult, but certainly not impossible to achieve. Anyone who is serious about transcending the mind and elevating themselves to that high consciousness can do so. Why is it a process of steps? The mind is difficult to master, and it takes small incremental steps to master and then transcend it. You have to learn to master thoughts, emotions, your body, your mind's wandering ways, and your propensity to mentally live in the past and the future. When you are able to see reality as it truly is, not through the lenses of your conditioning, and when you are able to raise your energetic vibration through the right thoughts, words, and actions, then you continue elevating yourself to a higher consciousness. You can alter your state of consciousness anytime when you meditate or pray, engage in yoga or other spiritual practice, or when you have a religious experience, or when you engage in activities that induce a trance. In these states, you can experience an equally real, parallel world. One way to begin your ascension to higher consciousness right this moment is to think, say, and do things that feel good and right, and avoid things that feel terrible and wrong. You will begin vibrating at a higher rate the instant you do that, and you will attract correspondingly high vibrating energies. Even a glimpse of your true nature is compelling enough to want to take on this spiritual journey. As you do, the results in your physical experience will be absolutely amazing. Another way to alter consciousness is by practicing mindfulness. One of the biggest mistakes spiritual seekers make is they divide their lives into spiritual and non-spiritual. They're one person at the ashram, church, mosque, etc., and another with their friends or at work. It's like they have a split personality, one conscious and one unconscious, one awakey and one asleep. I always wonder to myself, don't they realize that who they are outside of the ashram, church, mosque, satsang, etc., is just as important, if not more important, as who they are inside of the ashram, church, mosque, Satsang? Think about it. Your life isn't determined by what you do 5% of the time, but what you do 95% of the time. Mindfulness is about removing the dividing line between the spiritual and non-spiritual activities of your life and turning everything into a spiritual practice: eating, walking, exercising, shopping, working, etc. It's about being fully present with whatever you're doing and doing it consciously. Meditation and mindfulness go hand in hand. The more you meditate, the easier mindfulness becomes. The more mindful you are, the easier meditation becomes. Mindfulness is also like meditation in that it is a habit, and like any habit, it is difficult at first, but the more you practice it, the easier it gets.